Hello, it's a lovely good evening and welcome to Camnet TV television main news. To present, my name is Jeffrey Ziambo and our top stories in the news tonight. Former DMMU National Coordinator dares PAC to recommend his arrest. Former Youth Minister EMMANUEL MULENGA accuses former Ministry Director of pocketing 7 million KWACHA. EVELYN College graced with 10.5 million KWACHA. And in international news, JAZEERA reporter killed in Israeli gunfire. Sports news, Zambia under-16 match against Georgia ends in a 1-1 tie.
Are you a married man or woman? Are you encountering challenges in your marriage? Are you planning to take your marriage and love relationship to higher levels? Your business platform is all set for you as a couple. You are invited to attend Zambia's first love, business and marriage conference. Amidst uncertainties in the economy, higher divorce rate in the world, plan to be one of the most successful couple in Zambia. Date 28th May 2022. Time from 9 hours to 16 hours. Participation fee 1,200 KWACHA per couple. Lunch inclusive. For registration, payment can be done through MTN mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010 for Airtel Money. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International. Speakers, Professor and Mrs. Catherine Munkumba. And your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilunga. This is a must-attend conference. Plan and make a date with us. Your lives, marriage and future will never be the same. Remember, we are born for greatness. Book for your seats by calling 0962 965 883. See you on the 28th May 2022.
Your love always brings me back.
Now the news in detail. Traders at Chivolia Market have called on the local authorities to construct more toilets at the public facility, stating that the market only has one operating toilet for a population of over 1,000. The market initially had 2 operational local authority toilets, but one of them was vandalized shortly after the 12th August 2021 general elections by suspected party cadres. The residents have also called for security guards to be placed at public facilities such as toilets to avoid vandalism of public property. More in this report.
This is Chivolia Market in Lusaka, housing an estimated number of over 1,000 market traders. These traders, however, say they have to depend on this one toilet belonging to the Lusaka City Council, as the other one was vandalized by known people shortly after the announcing of the 12th August 2021 general elections. A check by Camnet News at the site reviewed the toilet structure, which is beyond use as it has been broken down. Traders spoken to at the market say the use of one local authority toilet by the entire market population is putting their health at risk.
Solo manja paso mutenge mafotozi example mzionere mweka mkabaonese kapena tina maboza na kutoilet tiende pamozi nayi mukakope muone matuvi vimbuzi mwe vinazulira muone mutenge exhibit yazona kuti bantu aba bakamba vazoona ndrama zeve zipasiwa mateni kwacha.
They have further called for security guards to be positioned at public facilities such as toilets, stating that the country is losing colossal amounts of money to rebuilding such facilities.
This vandalism, it came out about after the elections. So we don't know, just came the following day to find the place is vandalized and people lost employment who are working from here. So actually we are affected because as you can see, here there are so many people and they used to find the refuge from this place. So it has really affected the whole market.
So what would you like maybe in terms of ensuring that these places are guarded? Should security guards be employed?
Yes, because when those women were working from there, they were just 2 women, no guards. So I think this place should be safeguarded. It's a nice place and with very nice facilities inside. Now it has been turned into a dump site. They are throwing bins there.
Camnet News has since reached out to the Lusaka City Council LCC over the matter. Zipora Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Residents of Lusaka's Kanyama West area have bemoaned increased criminal activities due to lack of police presence. In an interview with Camnet News, one of the residents says people's lives are at risk as some criminal-minded people rob them even in broad daylight. They have since called on the authority to look into their plight so as to safeguard the lives of the people. More in this report.
The presence of the police in communities give the residents peace and stability. This is because the police is mandated to protect life and property. But this is not the case for Kanyama West residents who have lived without police presence for 2 years. The police post that was vandalized by unknown people has failed to take shape, thereby increasing criminal activities. One of the residents spoken to explains what has caused the delays in completing the police post.
Police tunayamba last year inarengesa the previous government, yes, wa cancel and never narengesa seminasira police. Vantu kai wezo willing kuti vachite contributing drama na contributing drama na pala tsosako pangono. So manje la pala rengesa inayofya abantu bapa bauzati bayopinde bafuna umanga police ngera rengeza kuti bantu bayope once, but this time very willing want kuti baimange police.
And another resident disclosed that they initially contributed to build the foundation and are ready to work with relevant authorities to ensure the completion of the police station to tighten up security in the area.
Nikangati kuti wafakira konzero police but wakansela vezwana bwera batebe muzanga chimpolisa na onekeresa na kwera, so kunafunika ngati kuti wonse ngati wakansela waimira wa MP wanafunika kuti wonse wakumana pamoja then nakupanga chinthu chingati chimozi panga polisi ya Karako polisi ngozi kuno wakawala lavuta kwambiri.
For now, we hope authorities will engage the community in ensuring that criminal activities are dealt with by completing the police station that has remained a white elephant for 2 years now. Cherish Sibote, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Residents of Mtendere B compound in Munali constituency say the giving of land for the construction of shops by the Lusaka City Council in an area famously known for the dumping of waste will go a long way in reducing this problem. Meanwhile, Area Councillor Boniface Chibeka has assured that all plots were given legally following all due procedure. More in this report.
Indiscriminate waste disposal has remained a problem in Zambia for a long time, as people have a habit of not paying for waste disposal but dumping waste illegally at certain places during night time. One such place with this problem is Mtendere B near Mahatma Gandhi School grounds in Lusaka, which has had an enormous heap of garbage for a long time. The Lusaka City Council, working with the Zambia National Service, however, recently moved in to clear the garbage heap, which has however begun filling up again. As a permanent solution to the problem, the Lusaka City Council has given out the land for the construction of shops whose construction has begun. This has elated residents of the said area.
Development chinjeko that's why but front na ground ane tikira offense kuti kana ground amataira mweneomo vantu aguna mataya na ground abenzeru
kuno kuli bana bambiri maningi bena ngoenda beya bena ngwashita bwanji mwaona so kuimbwa yelipaza mwana angasobere abwera bujaka imbwa bayashimatenda asisani yangena mwaona nishi kubevindo ndichi tichita so wakansela twatasha kuti vindo nwachita pa kuti balekera utako mabini
kaza jeka mabonzo ya imbwa bonzo ya imbwa kakulasa umuntu it is very effective kwa yofu ya muntu. So we need to concentrate about this our young generation, the people who are coming as behind kufunga kwafaka konzero kwa chitakia not kwarekerera abantu kamba kamba cheve sakamba kamba pasangala shemusho bakapitiza kumanga ama shops waka develop na ground ba chairman ba building of shemusho panga ya activities yambile ma sports panga boxing panga basketball court vonse escape for background ya.
Meanwhile, Area Councillor Mr. Boniface Chibeka says with the construction of shops, no one will be able to dispose of waste illegally at the said place.
So that once that area is developed, then people will stop dropping off garbage from there because we realize that it's like it's a bush. So now, those people applied through a normal channel, then that's how come there's those works which are going on there, and it's actually to cure the defect of
the garbage. Otherwise, and most people have welcomed it. And apart from that, at night in the same area, there are some junkies who attack the residents there. So once that area is developed, we are surely going to have a clean environment, a very good road, and a safe environment there.
The residents say the move should be emulated in other places with similar problems. Indiscriminate waste disposal poses many dangers to residents near these places, among them diarrhea diseases. Mutendere compound also recently recorded the first case of cholera after a long time. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Patriotic Front presidential hopeful Emmanuel Mwamba says he has appeared before a hearing constituted and being held by the Committee of the Zambia Public Procurement Authority, ZPPA. Mr. Mwamba says the authority is tasked to investigate the complaint laid by himself on the decision by ZESCO management to award foreign companies to supply and deliver over 40,000 wooden poles at an estimated cost of $107 million United States dollars. Mr. Mwamba says he submitted that ZESCO abrogated the ZPPA Act of 2020, which mandated procurement entities to use citizen suppliers or local suppliers.
Met the committee that is investigating the importation of wooden poles by ZESCO. We submitted that ZESCO didn't follow the procedure, that ZESCO used obscure and non-transparent methods. We also delivered information to show that Zafico and other local suppliers can supply these wooden poles. We further referred to the ZPPA Act of 2020 that provides in section 89 H and article 39, section 39, which shows that all purchases above 1 million kwacha must be to citizen suppliers or local suppliers. So there was no justification by law for ZESCO to go international if the poles are available in the country, and the law says any huge purchase above 1 million kwacha must be to citizen suppliers, in this case Zafico and other local suppliers. That's what the law says, and ZESCO, in our view, breached that law. So we've confidently given our submission to the committee, and we hope that in their investigations and in the various stakeholders they have to speak to, that will arrive at a fact that will stop the externalization of such a huge resource. We hear it's between $107 million to $140 million that ZESCO wishes to give, to send to Zimbabwe and South Africa. So it was fruitful for us. We made our case, and we hope that there will be a proper outcome to the case of ZESCO, importing these wooden poles outside the law, refusing to follow the regulations, and breaching the ZPPA Act of 2020. So thank you very much, and God bless you.
Former Secretary to the Treasury, Fredson Yamba, has asked the Lusaka Magistrates Court to refer his corruption case, in which he is jointly charged with former Minister of Foreign Affairs, to the Lusaka High Court for determination on whether or not the charges he is facing violates his right to a fair trial. This is in a matter in which Mr. Yamba is accused of authorizing the transfer of over 100 million kwacha to the Zambian account in Turkey for the procurement of real estate without following the law. But when the case came up for continued trial Wednesday morning, Mr. Yamba told Magistrate Jennifer Walia that the allegation he is facing before court do not cite a specific law, hence fears that he might not be subjected to a fair trial. More in this report.
Before the first witness on stand, EMMANUEL MULENGA, an advisor to the governor at the Bank of Zambia, could even be cross-examined in the alleged corruption case against former Foreign Affairs Minister Joseph Malanji. Former Secretary to the Treasury, Fredson Yamba, has again made an application before court seeking that the matter is jointly charged with Mr. Malanji be referred to the Lusaka High Court for determination as to whether the two charges he is facing before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court are in violation of his right. The state in the first count accuses Mr. Yamba of allocating and authorizing the transfer of over 100 million kwacha to the Zambian mission account in Turkey for the procurement of real estate without following the law. While in the second count, he is accused of allocating and authorizing the transfer of 45.8 million kwacha to the said Zambian mission account. However, Mr. Yamba, through his lawyer, argue that both charges he is accused of, the state have not cited a specific law. According to the defense application, Mr. Yamba is guaranteed a fair trial and the right to be informed in detail of the nature of the offense he is facing under Article 18 of the Constitution. The accused has raised questions touching on the Bill of Rights, arguing that both counts he is facing before court details have not been disclosed, a situation he claims will not help him formulate his defense. The defense team has further submitted that it is important that this matter be referred to the Lusaka High Court before trial can continue in the case, so as to ensure that no one is taking part in violating the accused's rights. As a right to a fair hearing is one of the most important rights in criminal justice. However, in response to their application, the state have objected, arguing that it is an attempt by the defense to have the case dragged. The court has since reserved ruling to the 23rd of May 2022. Mr. Yamba is facing two charges before Lusaka Magistrate Jennifer Walia, while former Foreign Affairs Minister Malanji is facing 3 counts, among them that between 1st January 2020 and the 31st of August 2021, Wallace, acting together with other persons, possessed a Bell 43 helicopter, property reasonably suspected of being proceeds of crime. While in the other count, Mr. Malanji is accused of possessing Gibson Royal Hotel, also believed to be proceeds of crime. The charges that the state accuses him of are contrary to Section 71(1) of the Forfeiture of Proceeds of Crime Act No. 19 of 2010 of the laws of Zambia. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Government has submitted before the Constitutional Court that the Office of the Attorney General instituted negotiations with former Konkola Copper Mines provisional liquidator Milingo Lungu to voluntarily resign from his position, but the deal was cut off by the Solicitor General. This is in a matter in which Mr. Lungu has petitioned the Attorney General, the Drug Enforcement Commission and Administrator General in the Constitutional Court, seeking an order that his purported arrest is an abuse of criminal proceedings. More in this report.
Arguments in relation to claims by former Konkola Copper Mines provisional liquidator Milingo Lungu that he was granted immunity from prosecution by government have continued before the Constitutional Court, with Attorney General Mulilo Kabesha submitting that the deal was called off. In this case, Mr. Lungu has petitioned the Attorney General, the Drug Enforcement Commission, among others, in the Constitutional Court, seeking an order that his purported arrest is an abuse of criminal proceedings. Mr. Lungu, who is a lawyer by profession, wants the Constitutional Court to declare that the Director of Public Prosecution, having granted him immunity against prosecution in matters relating to his performance as KCM provisional liquidator, his purported arrest and commencement of criminal proceedings is an abuse. He further wants the court to quash the DEC decision to charge and arrest him on the 7th of April 2022 for being in possession of property suspected of being proceeds of crime. Contrary to his submission, the government, however, in its affidavit in reply in opposition filed before court, states that on the 26th of April 2022, the Office of the Solicitor General instituted negotiations with Mr. Lungu to voluntarily resign from his position as KCM provisional liquidator. The Attorney General states that the negotiating team at the Office of the Official Receiver were guided by him not to accept the issue of immunity sought by Mr. Lungu but to possibly engage the Director of Public Prosecution and the Drug Enforcement Commission for plea bargain anchored on asset recovery. But on the 12th of January 2022, the negotiations between Mr. Lungu and the negotiating team at the office of the official receiver instituted by the Solicitor General were called off, which led to Mr. Lungu taking plea on the 7th of March 2022 before a Lusaka magistrate, Jennifer Walia, in a case involving theft of 17.25 million kwacha. The state further submits that on this particular day, Mr. Lungu was also appearing before a different magistrate relating to the theft of 4.4 million kwacha, monies alleged to have been stolen from Konkola Copper Mine, but the DPP entered the nolle prosequi in the case. The Attorney General since submitted that no communication was made by the DPP when it entered the nolle in the case of the purported immunity agreement, as that was not permissible under the Constitution and that the said purported immunity agreement was unconstitutional and in excess of the DPP's powers. Meanwhile, Boyd Munalula and the Drug Enforcement Commission have been struck out from the petition according to a consent order, but has not yet been signed by the judge. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Zambia Information and Technology Authority, ZICTA, says inculcating information communication technology ICT skills in girls at an early age is key in enhancing the sector. Speaking at the 11th anniversary commemoration of the Girls in Information Communication and Technology ICT in Lusaka Wednesday, ZICTA Acting Managing Director Pethel Piri says the authority has partnered with the International Telecommunications Union, ITU. Mr. Piri says the partnership is aimed at empowering girls with ICT skills that will enable them to add value to various professional disciplines. More in this report.
Science, information and technology still remain subjects that most girls in schools shun away from, and the need to motivate them into taking such subjects should be prioritized. In a bid to motivate girls in various learning institutions, the Zambia Information Communication and Technology Authority ZICTA Acting Managing Director Pethel Piri says there is need for the information and technology sector to be utilized in empowering girls to undertake innovations that add value to the country's growth. She was speaking during the 11th anniversary of the Girls in ICT held today in Lusaka.
We are trying to bring ICTs to girls at a tender age, as they're young, so that they appreciate that these are skills they can use in their careers, in their businesses, through whichever action or future course of life that they choose to take. It's something that we promote so that they're able to use it more or less like an empowerment sort of strategy. And this is a day that is commemorated every year. So it's actually commemorated in April, but we thought we have it in May so that we bring the girls together and teach them some of the skills. We're working with our partners. We have Asikana Networks, which is here, and they're mentoring the girls on how they can use ICTs, and they have various activities that they're doing today to just help them internalize the importance of ICTs in their growth.
Meanwhile, Ministry of Science and Technology Permanent Secretary Brian Habenzu, who was represented by the ministry's Communication Director Miuna Makuni, acknowledged the important role technology play in the day-to-day activities of girls and urged stakeholders to extend ICT projects to other parts of the country.
So it's not only about protection, but it's also equipping the girl child with tools that they can use to advance their opportunities, advance their career. And we are not saying it should only be only in Lusaka, because mainly our focus has been only for those that are in the line of rail. But now we are saying let it be decentralization in the 116 districts. So these programs will not only be restricted to Lusaka, but for all the girls wherever they are. And hence the curriculum should be mainstreamed in all the elementary education from grade 1 to grade 12. Let the girl child have access to ICTs, let them choose the career they want and use ICT to empower themselves and be active participants in the socio-economic development of the country.
And some participants expressed interest in pursuing technological courses such as journalism and accounts.
Obviously, these guys are journalists, so whatever I'm going to do today, obviously, is going to help me in the future. ICT will obviously have a great part.
I want to take accounts in the future, and obviously everything we will learn, it's all about balancing and doing everything on laptop. So, yeah, I want to do it.
As the digital space continues to grow, the need to protect girls on online platforms and shape various technological skills cannot go unnoticed. As such, every citizen has a role to play. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News.
Government has graced EVELYN College in Lusaka with 10.5 million kwacha meant to improve infrastructure and equipment in order to improve the students' welfare. Science and Technology Minister Felix Mutati says the resources will be released before the end of May 2022 and has urged the board and management of the institution to prioritize staff motivation. Mr. Mutati says his ministry will ensure that all TVET institutions are given priority through a timely release of funding. Meanwhile, institution principal Kefas Chabo has assured the minister that the resources will be prudently utilized and has appealed to students not to vandalize the infrastructure, which will be repaired using the resources. More in this report.
Science and Technology Minister Felix Mutati had last month, April 2022, visited EVELYN College in Lusaka to appreciate the successes and challenges that the institution is faced with. During his tour of duty, the successes and challenges were brought to his fore, critical among them being the critical infrastructure shortage, poor student hostel sanitation and services, high institution debt, poor lecturing facility and unmotivated staff. To address some of these challenges, the minister has given a sum of 10.5 million kwacha to the college meant to improve infrastructure and equipment in order to improve the student welfare.
So we are going to meet the full budget that has been delivered by the Project Implementation Committee to address the priorities that have been put in phase 1. And the amount that has been delivered to us by the Project Implementation Committee is 10.5 million kwacha. You have, before Friday, your 10.5 million kwacha.
Mr. Mutati also says his ministry will ensure that all TVET institutions are given priority through a timely release of funding.
We shall come again now to deal with the longer term, which is the hostels, accommodation, because that requires us to go and think again, isn't it? To finish the blocks that have remained half unfinished. Our commitment is that let's make EVELYN the superstar of training in Teveta.
And EVELYN College Principal Kefas Chabo could not hide his joy and has pledged to ensure that all resources are put to good use.
Honorable Minister, let me take this opportunity to assure you that this resource envelope which you have given us will definitely be ring-fenced to make sure that it is used for the intended purpose. Remind our students that as we start this rehabilitation, please look after the property.
And Zambia National Student Union also thanked the government for the gesture, but also took time to highlight some of the challenges faced in TVET institutions.
Honorable Minister, that I want to bring to your attention on bursaries. These students, when they applied, some of them were told that they are on 100% bursary. But when they reported in various institutions, they were told that your bursary is 50, others were told that it's 25, which becomes a challenge because most of them, they planned for 100%.
Higher institutions of learning are very important to a country as they help shape the next leaders, hence the need to ensure that the learning environment is conducive. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Ministry of Green Economy and Environment has indicated that a review and audit conducted by the ministry has shown that in the past, a few individuals acquired timber export permits when in fact they did not have the timber. Ministry Permanent Secretary John Msimoko says the Forestry Department is undertaking inspections to verify that each applicant has timber before the timber export permit is issued to them. Mr. Msimoko says the measures will also enable the Forestry Department to establish the source of the timber and ascertain whether the timber was legally harvested.
In the past, timber export licenses have been given to a few individuals that do not actually have timber stocks to export. That poses a little bit of a problem for us, and so to address the matter, the Forestry Department is insisting on doing verification inspections to ascertain that any applicant that is applying for timber export license or permits actually has timber stocks to export, because this affords us the opportunity also to determine the source of that timber and whether or not it was harvested legally. And so our plea and encouragement is to the applicants of these timber export permits to cooperate with our officers from the Forestry Department so that they undertake these inspections so that we quicken the process of issuance of timber export permits. Because we know as a government that a number of businesses rely on these permits, and a number of livelihoods also rely on these permits. So we'd like to quicken this and make sure that the forestry subsector occupies its place as one of the engines that drives this economy.
The Finnish government has revealed plans to embark on a project that will see health professionals being exported to Finland to conduct health duties. Speaking whilst paying a courtesy call on the Minister in charge of Health, Sylvia Masebo, Finland Ambassador to Zambia, Perjo Suomela, says the project will help reduce the backlog that the Zambian government has on the recruitment of health practitioners. Meanwhile, Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo says the initiative is a good move as it will aid in reducing challenges such as unemployment amongst qualified health workers. More in the following report.
The challenge of health workers being recruited in Zambia has been a song in the health sector. October 30th, 2021, the Zambian government announced its plans to employ 11,200 health workers in 2022. Who will help improve health service delivery in the country. In supplementing government's effort, Finnish government has revealed plans to embark on a project that will see health professionals being exported to Finland on employment basis. Finland Ambassador to Zambia disclosed this during a courtesy call at the Ministry of Health.
On the same page, and of course it's important that when we look at something like this, that in both countries from all different angles, you know, one can see it as a real win-win opportunity. But like we were saying in that discussion, it's not only even about that specific issue, but it can be seen as an important, how should I say, an important element, and maybe even a beginning, even though there are already a lot of links between Finland and Zambia from previous decades. An important cultural exchange, one could say, and exchange at personal level, where a lot of the people, I am sure, they will come back to Zambia, the ones who go to Finland, and they will come back with a lot of new skills, and they will come back with a lot of new ideas and contacts and so forth.
Meanwhile, Minister in charge of Health, Sylvia Masebo, says the project is a good move as it will aid in reducing challenges such as unemployment among its qualified health workers.
We may take longer to get others employed. This year we are getting this 11,200.
Yeah.
Next year again we are going to do this, because this is going to be a program for the next 3 years. Yeah, these numbers are unprecedented. In the past we didn't have this kind of numbers.
Yeah.
And if you look even at education, 30,000.
Yeah.
Because there's been a backlog. You know, but even like I said, with all these activities, we still have excess.
Yes.
And so obviously it's just good to begin considering exporting. And
Yes.
so the president had already indicated that the ministry should explore.
Wow.
So it is timely.
Exactly. Now you can report that you have explored.
And
come up with something. And come up with something.
Yes. So really, I want to say that it's a good thing. And it is welcome.
The project will help strengthen bilateral relations between the Zambian government and Finland. Blessings Chakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet Television. We'll take a commercial break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Zavenda. Save nations, develop Africa. Connecting African countries to each other and connecting the African continent to the world. This logistics and global supply chain management group offers end-to-end solutions across all sectors of the economy: agriculture, energy, telecommunications, finance, construction, transportation, and insurance. And now, its initiatives are greener than ever, operating in line with government guidelines and working to provide energy security for Zambia and beyond. 25 companies united under one group and one vision. Zavenda. Trade and logistics made easy.
In keeping with a school tradition, it's the May 2022 Back to School with Butter Toffees. Get the all-new Butter Toffees original leather school shoes that are antifungal and antibacterial treated, hence reducing common school shoe odor and thus are eco-friendly. Hurry to your nearest Butter outlet countrywide and grab a pair of the all-new original Butter Toffees. Butter. Built to last, built for life.
The trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the ministry.
She has so much data.
Mom.
Yes, baby.
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
Are you a married man or woman? Are you encountering challenges in your marriage? Are you planning to take your marriage and love relationship to higher levels? Your business platform is all set for you as a couple. You are invited to attend Zambia's First Love, Business and Marriage Conference. Amid its uncertainties in the economy, higher divorce rate in the world, plan to be one of the most successful couple in Zambia. Jet, 28th May 2022. Time from 9 hours to 16 hours. Participation fee 1,200 kwacha per couple. Lunch inclusive. For registration, payment can be done through MTN mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010 for Airtel Money. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International. Speakers, Professor and Mrs. Catherine Munkumba. And your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilunga. This is a must-attend conference. Plan and make a date with us. Your lives, marriage, and future will never be the same. Remember, we are born for greatness. Book for your seats by calling 0962 965 883. See you on the 28th May 2022.
Your love always brings me back.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Former Youth and Sports Minister EMMANUEL MULENGA has raised counter-accusations as he has refuted allegations of being involved in the procurement of 50 fuel tankers for the Youth Empowerment Program. Mr. MULENGA has denied allegations he was instructed by former President Edgar Lungu to increase the number of fuel tankers from the Youth Empowerment Program from 35 to 50, so as purported by the ministry's former Youth Director Tiza Nkumbula when she appeared before the Public Accounts Committee this morning. Mr. MULENGA has further dismissed contentions by Ms. Nkumbula that she was removed from her position because she opposed the manner Youth Empowerment Program was being implemented. Mr. MULENGA made the remarks when he appeared before Public Accounts Committee in Lusaka Wednesday. More in the following report.
Wednesday, 11th May 2022, the Public Accounts Committee was in session, and the witness was the former Youth and Sports Minister EMMANUEL MULENGA, who in the previous sitting was accused of being behind most of the irregularities as contained in the Auditor General's report.
This guy was highly connected to the former government. I don't know what position he had, but that's all I know, because he used to come with a lot of authority to my office. So he's the one that brought in most of these cooperatives.
Fast forward to today, Mr. Mulenga refuted assertions of being involved in the procurement of 50 fuel tankers for the Youth Empowerment Program. Mr. Mulenga also denied allegations that he was instructed by the former President Edgar Lungu to increase the number of fuel tankers for the Youth Empowerment Program from 35 to 50.
The procurement tender for fuel tankers, 30 of that in terms of quantity. Our former minister can claim that he wasn't aware about the procurement process, because I understand that the main purpose of having management meeting having meetings between yourself and top management, one of the reasons was to keep you abreast of what is happening in your own ministry.
You submitted Appendix 4, which has 42 people, and out of these 42 people, you have picked 3 names as those who were fired. Where did the other remaining 38 go? If there's 3, you are casting aspersions that they were fired because they benefited from these monies that you have provided on Appendix.
Bodak, what I don't know, not that I don't know everything, what I don't know is the procurement process. Because as a minister, I pray that one day appointed, as a minister, you take oath that you shall defend the Constitution and the laws of the land. When you are taking up that office, I took oath. If the laws and the Constitution does not allow me to be part of procurement, why should I force myself to be part of that procurement team?
The former minister claimed that, contrary to the assertions, Ms. Nkumbula was removed from her position because, among other reasons, she inflated prices of equipment that the ministry was procuring under the Youth Empowerment Program, and misuse of money for development of the communication strategy amounting to 7 million kwacha, and financial misconduct where she paid herself and the driver. The Public Accounts Committee members felt the submissions by the minister contradicted the previous submissions, thus wondering if there were parallel reports at the ministry.
Also, the money made for development of robust and comprehensive communication strategy, they transferred 484,000. And if you go to Appendix number 4, Appendix number 4 on the second page, Appendix number 4, Chairperson, second page, it's an internal memo written by the Director of Finance to myself then when I was Minister of Youth, Sport and Child Development, indicating the people who drew money from the ministry without undertaking. If you go to the third page of Appendix number 4, the first one, who got 64,700 without traveling, was the former PS. The sixth one, who got this money, this is Mrs. Nkumbula's cleaner.
And the committee chairperson, Warren Mwambazi, said the committee did not understand Mr. Mulenga's submissions as they did not tally with the previous report.
I take position. We've heard the submission of the minister, former minister. We'll proceed and make our recommendations because he's not aware. Even if Honorable Mfarari, I give you the PEV Zambia, which is reported in the ministerial statement that youths benefited. The funds had already been.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Former Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU National Coordinator Chanda Kawe has dared the Parliamentary Public Accounts Committee, PAC, to recommend for his arrest if it is convinced he abused his office in the procurement of reusable masks for 58 districts that were at risk of contracting the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Kawe told the Parliamentary Accounts Committee that he needed to be treated with dignity. Mr. Kawe said he was not happy that some members of Parliament of the Parliamentary Committee handled him like a witness in a court, a development he said was dehumanizing him. More in the following report.
Well, appearing before the Public Accounts Committee is perceived as a hostile environment to witness, especially when the committee members identify audit queries. On the subject of the Auditor General's report looking on the COVID-19 pandemic, the witness was the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU. Matters being queried include, among others, over procurement of face masks and selection of contractors to supply COVID-19 materials. And this time around, DMMU's former national coordinator, Chanda Kawe, was able to attend after previously failing to do so on account of being sick. Just like a porcupine, he came prepared and pushed off the weight of the parliamentary committee by making it clear that he was not in court to be cross-examined and he wanted to be treated with dignity.
Appreciated. Honorable Rumai said something else. Chair, that is not appreciated. I don't think so. You called me to be abused. No, that is not appreciated. And I'm sure if you want information, Chair, I would choose, I'm appearing before the investigating witness, I would choose to go and speak to investigation committee and not your committee. I came out of respect, not to be abused. And if my submissions are not, people should use correct words to me, because I can react. That, Chair, I can promise you.
And Mr. Kawe has asked the Public Accounts Committee, PAC, to recommend his arrest if it feels he abused his office in the procurement of reusable face masks for 58 districts that were at risk of contracting the COVID-19 pandemic.
Can't be cast in concrete because the first plan was 4.2 and then it's cast in concrete that we can't revise the plan. No, we used to revise the plan. And that's why I said, Chairperson, if this committee thinks that we abused the authority to go and do, I've said I'm ready to pay the price. The committee can recommend that I'm arrested or prosecuted if they feel that I abused the authority in order for us to buy the masks. It's full stop. The plans are there, and from 2020 to 2021, at the time I was leaving the office, we are revising plans every single day, because the cases were increasing and the cases were reducing. It was my role as national coordinator who was given an opportunity to save lives, to ensure that no one dies. Even when people died.
And nominated Member of Parliament, Likando Mufalari, insisted that the committee is not involved in the affairs of taking people to court or to the police.
We are asking you to understand the decisions that you made when you were national coordinator. And if those decisions were able to adhere to some of the principles that were set before you, that's what we are asking for. So for him to come here and start telling us that we are putting him in a court, I think he has appeared before this committee before. He has appeared before other committees where you ask questions, and we are asking these questions to understand the decisions that you made. And we are not even interested in you to say maybe we want to take. We are not taking people to police. The Public Accounts Zambia does not take people to police. We are literally asking him to give us the criteria he was using, or the criteria DMMU, which he was the head. Why did they arrive at that position? Why did they not advertise? Why did they overprocure? Those are the questions and those are the systems that are in place in this country.
Meanwhile, Imanga Wamunyima, the Member of Parliament for Nalolo constituency, felt the witness could not provide concrete responses.
We're having too much emotion and long answers. If they are not willing to answer, Chair, then we might as well close the meeting. Because this emotion of saying, no, I'm not in this, that, we must take deep recognition that what we are subjecting here is public accountability, which is the key role of Parliament. So if you don't have an answer, you say you don't have an answer. Rather than taking around and in some way, I feel demeaned. You cannot come before this committee and say, I'm not being cross-examined. No, that question. These questions are informed based on the Auditor General's report.
The DMMU is among the major highlights of the Auditor General's report on account of misappropriation and application or abuse of resources, and we can only wait for the recommendation of the Public Accounts Committee. Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
Kelvin Chisanga, an economist, says the increase in the Constituency Development Fund CDF has created a favorable environment for new businesses to germinate. In an interview with Camnet News today, Mr. Chisanga says the 2022 national budget was substantively enough to allow such economic activities to take place, saying more have decided to go to the entrepreneurship route to boost the economy. He, however, says that though the businesses that registered in 2021 have not yet yielded much fruit, he is hopeful that the continuation of such movements and a calm political atmosphere there will bring more economic gains. More in the following report.
The call by the United Party for National Development Administrations that Zambia should be self-sustaining through the creation of cooperatives and the motivation factor for the increased Constituency Development Fund from 1.6 million to 25.7 million kwacha and guidelines apportioning a percentage to empowerment. 11,000 businesses have been registered under the Patents and Companies Registration Agency, PACRA, in the first quarter of 2022. A social development economist, Mr. Kelvin Chisanga, has attributed the development to the increase in the Constituency Development Fund.
The budget is quite stimulus for this year. That's the reason why there is this talk. And even when the government has actually given birth to the new Ministry of SME, I think also that is what is accelerating what we're able to see in this case. Yeah. But obviously, there could be other compounding factors, even issues to do with high level of unemployment, which is actually currently prevailing the nation. And all this is coming at the back of COVID after effect, which we are able to see. So those are also...
Mr. Chisanga says many people have now realized the importance of owning a business, commending government for the launching of the Public-Private Dialogue Forum, PPDF, adding that it is one key pillar for the private sector to thrive.
Means you can survive, you have job security, but we need to drive our focus even to private sector investment. If anything, when there is this talk of public-private dialogue forum, it signifies that we need now to champion ourselves to a private-driven demand, where we need now to capitalize the private sector to ensure that we bring substantial schemes in terms of investment climate. If we have a robust participation from the private sector, we will be able to augment some of the challenges that we've been facing.
Ms. Chanika reporting for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
The Zambia Institute of Environmental Health has called on the medical waste regulatory authorities to investigate the culprits behind the reckless disposal of medical waste in Lusaka. In an interview with Camnet News, the association president, Kennedy Chishimba, notes that medical waste, once not properly managed, can pose as a threat to the members of the public. He states that health facilities must desist from mismanaging medical waste as it can cause harm to the citizenry. More in this report.
The Medical Waste Management Project in Zambia aims at promoting best practices and techniques for healthcare waste management. It minimizes or eliminates releases of persistent organic pollutants to help the country meet its obligations. Despite the project running, health facilities have developed a tendency of recklessly disposing medical waste. Recently, Camnet TV aired news items where non-health facilities failed to manage medical waste and in turn dumped the waste in drainages.
This part of Lusaka's Kabulonga area, opposite to the Mount Zion Church, where a non-health institution has decided to dump waste in this part of the drainage.
I have a look at my background. This is not safe. Okay, if you take a closer look at what is contained in those plastic, it's actually things that have been disposed of by health institutions. And these look like people who are doing surgery.
Acts that have made the Zambia Institute of Environmental Health call on the regulatory authorities to investigate the culprits behind the dangerous occurrences.
Infection, chemical risks,
Here we could have all these fire explosions and of course the risk of radioactive materials. And we also must want to remind each other here is that we are signatory to all these conventions that we sign as a nation. The famous Basel Convention on the control of transboundary movements. It was done sometime in 1992 for the Stockholm movement that regulates us to ensure that we are able to control all these persistent organic pollutants. We call them POPs. Now, if the medical waste is found in places that are not supposed to be there, then you risk causing harm to the environment and the general public.
Medical waste requires careful disposal and containment before collection and solidation for treatment. Blessings Shakwila, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet Television and not just another channel. We'll take a break. We'll be back with international and sports news.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
We welcome you to the wonderful world of Savenda Electronics.
At Savenda Electronics, we pride ourselves in manufacturing high-quality electricity and water meters.
Boasting of the first of its kind state-of-the-art manufacturing plant in Zambia, Savenda Electronics manufactures customized smart electricity and water meters of international standards for both the local and international water and electricity utility companies. Our highly computerized factory, run by qualified staff, makes, calibrates, and electronically tests the smart meters to ensure only those meeting customer specifications are delivered to the market. Some of the main features which come with our meters includes notifications about low units, tempering, low battery, and many more customized features. Savenda Electronics provides on and off-site after-sales service and has favorable contract terms for water and electricity utility companies. Savenda Electronics, the real deal.
Are you a married man or woman? Are you encountering challenges in your marriage? Are you planning to take your marriage and love relationship to higher levels? Your business platform is all set for you as a couple. You are invited to attend Zambia's first love, business and marriage conference. Amid its uncertainties in the economy, higher divorce rate in the world, plan to be one of the most successful couple in Zambia. Date 28th May 2022. Time from 9 hours to 16 hours. Participation fee 1,200 kwacha per couple. Lunch inclusive. For registration, payment can be done through MTN mobile money on 0962 965 883 or 0979 753 010 for Airtel Money. Venue, the Healing Word Ministries International. Speakers, Professor and Mrs. Catherine Munkumba. And your hosts, Pastors Victoria and Moses Chilwa. This is a must-attend conference. Plan and make a date with us. Your lives, marriage and future will never be the same. Remember, we are born for greatness. Book for your seats by calling 0962 965 883. See you on the 28th May 2022.
Your love always brings me back.
And now in international news, Israeli forces have shot dead Al Jazeera journalist SHIREEN Abu Akleh in the occupied West Bank, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry. She was hit by a live bullet on Wednesday while covering Israeli raids in the city of Jenin and was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, according to the ministry and Al Jazeera journalists. Abu Akleh was wearing a press vest when she was killed. Another Al Jazeera journalist, Ali Samoudou, was also wounded after being shot in the back. He is now in a stable condition and said that there were no Palestinian fighters present when the journalist was shot, directly disputing an Israeli statement that referenced the possibility. Qatar's deputy foreign minister condemned the killing of the Al Jazeera reporter by Israeli occupation in the West Bank. In a statement, Al Jazeera media network condemned the blatant murder that it says violates international laws and norms and called Abu Akleh's death as a heinous crime through which it is intended to prevent the media from fulfilling its message. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
Preparations for Somalia's presidential election are underway. A record of 39 candidates have registered for the race taking place this Sunday. More than 300 MPs will be in charge of deciding who will be the next leader of the easternmost African nation. Current President Mohamed Abdullahi Mohamed of Farmajo is running again after an attempt of extending his 4 years first term in 2021. Former Foreign Minister Fauzia Yusuf Adam is the only female candidate. This election will put an end to over a year of political crisis because of a power struggle between Farmajo and his Prime Minister Mohamed Hussein Roble, in charge of organizing the vote. Somalia has also been facing a turbulent security crisis for the past 30 years. Wednesday morning, at least 4 people were killed in a suicide explosion near Mogadishu airport, where Sunday's election will be taking place.
The former Ivorian Minister of Water and Forests, Alain Richard Donouaye, was elected president of the COP15 against desertification on Wednesday. Donouaye, elected on Wednesday by acclamation of the delegates of the COP15 countries, did not have an opponent. The 59-year-old Alain Richard was until April 20th the Minister of Water and Forests of Cote d'Ivoire since 2017. He was one of the few ministers who left the government during a reshuffle that tightened the number of ministers. At the end of April, some reports revealed that the Ministry of Water and Forests had been subject of an audit by the State General Inspection since the end of February. The audit confirmed by the government comes after the dismantling of a vast traffic in precious wood involving, according to some media reports, members of his cabinet. Last week, Donouaye denounced this campaign, denying any link with wood smuggling networks. Less known than its big sister on climate, the 15th conference of the parties of the United Nations Convention to Combat Desertification addresses issues of land degradation, advancing deserts or deforestation.
The body of SHIREEN Abu Akleh is carried through the town of Jenin in the occupied West Bank. The veteran Al Jazeera reporter was shot dead while covering a raid by Israeli forces. Another journalist was also shot and injured. The Palestinian Health Ministry says they were hit by bullets fired by Israeli soldiers.
We made ourselves clear to the army and the passers-by, indicating that we are the press. Then within seconds there was the first shot. I told them that we are being targeted, we are being shot at. I turned and found SHIREEN on the ground.
The Israeli military says its forces came under attack in Jenin and that they fired back.
There was no exchange of fire, so there is no possibility whatsoever that a Palestinian have shot SHIREEN Abu Akleh. The Israeli army always uses these excuses to cover up the crimes they are committing against Palestinians, including Palestinian journalists.
Israeli raids in the occupied West Bank have intensified in recent weeks after a series of attacks inside Israel. The Jenin refugee camp has become a stronghold for resistance against the Israeli occupation. SHIREEN Abu Akleh had worked for Al Jazeera for 20 years. Colleagues described her as brave, kind and a voice of Palestinians.
I'm sure there will be lots of calls from around the world. We get a lot of support from human rights organizations, governments, who will be looking at what happened here and why a journalist has been shot dead. Journalists, killing journalists, shooting the messenger is equivalent to a war crime. So we need to know what has happened. The world needs to know what has happened.
Qatar's foreign ministry put out a tweet saying the Israeli occupation killed Al Jazeera journalist SHIREEN Abu Akleh by shooting her in the face while wearing the press vest and a helmet. She was covering their attack in Jenin refugee camp. This state-sponsored Israeli terrorism must stop and unconditional support to Israel must end. Israel says it's launched an investigation into what happened. It says it does not target journalists. But some human rights activists say they have little faith in the Israeli justice system.
There are human rights organizations, for example, like B'Tselem, an Israeli human rights organization, that decided a long time ago that they are no longer going to even interact with the complaint system within the Israeli army. Because it is not serious, it doesn't find Israeli soldiers guilty.
Al Jazeera is calling for a transparent investigation into the death of Shireen Abu Akleh. Few Palestinians think that's likely to happen. Victoria Gatenby, Al Jazeera.
Let's now have some sports news. And in our sports news tonight, the Zambia under-16 national team played to a 1-1 draw against Georgia to open their UEFA under-16 four-nation international development tournament at the GF Football Academy in Georgia. The team, formed after the nationwide trials for the under-16 category, started the tournament on a better note against the European campaigners.
Keep up! Ice point, pick up! Yes, keep up! Keep up! Now keep up! Keep up! Better! Quick, highest point up! Better! 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 That's my baby! That's my baby! Up! Yeah, I can't break! That's my egg! Up, Martin! Keep up! Last two! Up! Better! Down! Let's go, let's throw! Highest point! Keep up! Eyes on the ball! Balance! Keep up! Breathe up! Right protection! Keep up! Let's go! Right protection! Shot keeper! Keep up! Let's go, keeper! Highest point! Protection, you! Push! Protect yourself! Push. Okay, are we set? Push! Better! Good, Martin! Push, Jack, the ball! Keep up! Let's go, quick! Keep up! Better! Back! Keep up! Up, quick! Keep up! Better, Martin! Last one! Keep up! Up, quick! Keep up! Let's go, just throw! Go! Quick! Go! I need that aggression. Set! Go! Go! Upper! Go! Go! Keep up! I need that ball.
To end Camnet television menus, the headlines once again. Former DMMU National Coordinator dares PAC to recommend his arrest. Former Youth Minister EMMANUEL MULENGA accuses former Ministry Director of pocketing 7 million kwacha. EVELYN College graced with 10.5 million kwacha. In international news, Al Jazeera reporter killed by Israeli gunfire. And in sports news, Zambia under-16 match against Georgia ends in a 1-1 tie. We now look at the Camnet verse for the day, which is coming from Matthew 6 verse 19. Don't collect for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy, and where thieves break in and steal. Thank you for watching Camnet Television once again. My name is Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.